Today's Save Thursday tip is about something that can save you not just money, but a lot of trouble and possibly getting a bad reputation in the film and television industry. Here's the scenario. You're working for a production company as a freelancer, whether it's an editor or a cameraman, whether you're in post or production or in pre production. And this company has hired you to work on a specific project, and they have a client behind that project, and everything is going really well. You're doing a great job. The client that they have notices you're an incredibly hardworking individual, and that is great. Now, at some point, the company you're working for's client pulls you aside and says something like this: "Hey, we really love working with you. On the next one, why don't you just come work directly for us?" So, what they're really suggesting is that you cut the company that you're working for now out of the equation and work directly for them. Now, if you're freelancing, that might sound flattering and you might think, "Great, I just picked up a new job and a new client." But this is one of those moments where you need to stop and think very carefully, because in our industry, this is considered a pretty professional, taboo no-no. And that goes for not only you as the freelancer, but the company making you that offer. Now, in this situation, the first company that hired you, that is your employer and that is your boss. Whether you are staff or freelance, it doesn't matter. They brought you into the project. Their client is their relationship and not yours. So if you go around them and you start working directly for that client, what you're doing is burning a bridge with that first initial company that hired you. And so today's Save Thursday tip is this: don't measure the money you might gain by saying yes, measure the money you might lose from the company that initially hired you. Because the reality is, if a company finds out you went around them to work directly for their competitor and for their client, they will probably never hire you again. And that's not theory, that's experience. And I'm not talking from an experience of the employee, I am talking from the experience of the company. We have had multiple people work for us in a full-time freelance basis, sometimes for years, who then tried to sidestep us and go directly work for our clients. And we found out about it. And guess what the result is? We never hired them again. Because the reality is, you know what you're doing, you know it's not professional and it's inappropriate, and you know that you are in fact hurting the hand that was feeding you. And that's the part people often fail to consider in the moment. Yes, you might be gaining a new client, but you might also be losing years of work, especially from one company that has been providing for you in a sustainable way. Many production companies, including our own, add what is called a non-solicitation clause into their contracts with both crew and clients. This clause basically says that the client cannot approach or hire members of our crew directly for outside work for a certain period of time. Many times it's often a year after the project we're on ends or wraps. But even if there isn't a contract clause in place, there is still professional etiquette that should be abided by if this situation comes up. If a client tries to hire you directly, the best response is something like this: "I really appreciate you looking at me that way, but I'm working for this company right now, and I know you're their client. I would probably be best off to talk to one of the owners first, just to make sure I don't upset anybody." That response shows professionalism, loyalty, and respect for the people who hired you. And people notice these things because in this industry, your reputation travels very quickly. If you're someone who behaves professionally and protects the relationships you're part of, people will want to keep working with you. But if you're someone who quietly goes around the company that hired you the moment an opportunity appears, that reputation spreads too. So today's Save Thursday tip is simple. If a client tries to hire you away from the company that brought you onto the job, think carefully before you say yes. Don't measure the money you might gain, measure the money you might lose. Because protecting your reputation and your long-term relationships will always be worth more than one short-term opportunity.